I can picture it in my head. You're out on a nice calm walk with your puppy, and someone appears out of nowhere making a beeline for you and your adorable companion. Before long, you've got an excited dog who's jumping and pulling at the end of their leash. Where are the manners? I get it, I have a standard poodle and he's not small. So when we're out on walks, if Wesley was going to greet people with jumping, that would be really uncomfortable and even a dangerous situation. What if a child wanted to greet him? Well, thankfully, Wesley has a dog trainer in the house, so we've taught him how to calmly greet other humans. And I also know his limits and how to avoid situations that he's not ready for. Now, if you need a dog trainer in your house, you've got one. That's me. Today we're going to talk about teaching your dog to greet people nicely. It's a must-have skill for all dogs, if you ask me. Michelle here with How to Train a Dream Dog. Okay, let's get busy with the important topics here. How can we train our dogs to greet people nicely while out on a walk? First, let's talk about why your dog does this behavior, because this is going to help you make sure it doesn't happen, or help you fix it if it's already happening. Now, there could be a variety of emotions present at the time that this is happening. And this could be excitement, especially if your dog has received some exciting or stimulating reinforcement when he or she has greeted people in the past, like getting petted while jumping, or even grabbing those paws to pull them off if they were already jumping. And it could be overstimulation, in that your dog has such big feelings about this event, she doesn't know what to do with them. So she just starts acting on her canine instinct and jumps. Now, this could be stress or fear. It seems a little counterintuitive that a dog would jump on someone if they're afraid of them, but dogs are not humans and they act on instinct. So yes, sometimes jumping on someone is a sign of discomfort. Now, some of you may feel that this is your dog's natural temperament and he's just being friendly. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't like to be jumped on by all my friends. And honestly, it's not good doggy manners for people or for humans. And I hate to break it to you, but your dog doesn't want to just say hi. Yes, your dog might be curious and might want to get a closer look, but polite dogs, they do that by calmly sniffing and watching. There's no need to jump. And if we're seeing jumping behavior, it's likely that the dog is over the threshold of calm, and now we've got reactivity. Okay, time for a quick lesson on threshold, because it plays a big role in how you're going to work on this skill. So the threshold is a concept that indicates that the closer the dog is to the triggering object or person, the less likely they'll have the ability to follow your cues or skills you've taught them. It's an imaginary line behind which your dog can remain calm in the presence of a trigger. But on the other side of that line, you see a reaction. This threshold, it could be 10 feet, 20 feet, or 100 feet. It all depends on the dog and the situation. Now, I tell you this because the distance away from the trigger matters when it comes to training. So we need to get behind the imaginary line in order to work on this behavior. And if the dog is too excited or fearful or overstimulated when he's close to the trigger, no new things are going to enter the brain at that moment. We talk a lot about the trigger and the threshold in this video on fear. It's a great one to watch if you're seeing a lot of reactivity on walks. And you can get a much better understanding of your dog's behavior and what to do about it. So the bottom line here is that I want you to keep your dog from getting too close and getting too triggered. You might have to advocate for your dog and for yourself. So choose a quieter place to walk like we recommend for decompression walks. You can notice if someone is coming and cross the street, or even go in a different direction to avoid them. And you can definitely advocate for your dog who might not be ready to meet or greet anyone just yet. Sometimes simply saying a firm, "Oh, we're not ready for greetings right now, we're still in training," is really all it takes to advocate for your dog, but still be a friendly neighbor. We even have t-shirts that can help you send the right message. You can find the link to purchase this and other shirts that we have available below this video in our store. All right, back to fixing the jumping behavior. Now, the other thing that could be happening is something I alluded to earlier. It's your dog getting reinforcement for the behavior, so it gets stronger. So if your dog is jumping and pulling on the leash and you let him greet the thing that's exciting him, you've just told him that jumping and pulling gets him what he wants. Be careful what you reinforce, it will get stronger. But that also means you can reinforce the behavior you want to see. Now, one of the ways we do this is with the Close to Me game in my online course. And in this game, we practice at home, inside first, so the dog learns that remaining close to the human creates good things. And the more you practice at home and then in low distraction environments, slowly working up to the real thing, the better your dog will get at keeping calm and collected when you encounter people on a walk. Now, another thing you could do is teach your dog the go say hi trick. We use the bump it game for this. I like to suggest to my students to teach your dog to go bump the other person with a gentle little nose boop and then return to you for the treat. This is a great skill that gives the dog a job to do in the moment, but keeps them focused on you. And who would object to a little nose boop on the leg? It's adorable. Now, you may think that I'm taking all the fun out of a walk by not letting people come up and ooh and ah over your adorable pup. You can still allow that, but only when your dog remains calm. We are looking for neutrality here. We want the dog to see other people and think, all right, another person. Interesting. In some situations, you might allow your dog a controlled and calm greeting. But in other situations, you might decide to pass, especially if the person doesn't appear to love dogs or gets your dog overly excited. We want to teach our dogs to take our cue, whether to greet calmly or to walk on by. And we don't want our dog to get used to greeting everyone he sees. I mean, do you run up and hug everyone you pass on the street? That'll get you kicked off the street pretty fast. So don't allow it from your dog. Now, this all sounds easy and logical when I say it, but I'll be honest with you, it is a little bit harder of a skill to train. It can be done. My students do it all the time. But I just want you to set your expectations realistically here. You won't get that neutrality on accident. It has to be trained. A dog's natural inclination is to greet with reckless abandon. That's okay. Dogs have lots of natural behaviors that we have to adjust just a little bit to fit into our human world. Now, when we do it in a positive way, with lots of rewards for teaching, the dog easily learns the new skill. That's how we do it with potty training, and that's how we're gonna do it with greetings too. All right, who's loving this content? If you are, show me. Drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, or leave us a super thanks. We do work hard to put these videos together for you, and we'd love to hear from you. All right, now before we get to some demos, I just want to put out a note of caution to you small dog owners. I'm going to be blunt here. Sometimes it's easy for small dog owners to be a little complacent on training, simply because of the size of the dog. After all, if you have a 10-pound dog jumping on you, you don't really notice it all that much. So it may not come up as a must-do on your training list, but I do urge you to treat every dog like a 150-pound Saint Bernard. Not only are those manners good for him or her, but even small dogs can scratch or injure a child or someone who's a little bit older with delicate skin. Now, I'm going to show you a few demos of what I'm working on with my dogs. I do have adult dogs, and yes, I am still working on it with them. It's a really hard skill for a dog to overcome their natural excitement when they see another person. So, we go on a lot of decompression walks where they don't see other people, and they don't have to work so hard to have good manners. But here's the training I'm doing with my dogs to work on these skills. All right, I've got Pickles and Wesley as my demo dogs here. So both of them have a lot of energy, and if I hadn't trained them, they'd race all over and meet every stranger we saw. With Pickles, I start with a familiar person. We walk a few steps and I stop. I'm looking for calm behavior that indicates we can continue walking forward. I wait for a check-in from Pickles before continuing on. Notice he looks up at me? I could do a treat scatter on the ground around him to decrease excitement if necessary. I gauge his excitement level. If he's too excited, we don't move forward, and if he remains calm, we do move forward. Notice how in tune to me he is? This gives me info I need to move closer to the person. I'll also wave and chat a moment before moving forward. I keep our interaction brief, and before he gets too excited, we start to move away. Wesley's personality is different, so for him, I choose to gauge where his threshold is and make sure we work back behind it. Now you can see from this video, he starts pulling the moment he sees a person. He does self-correct and gets back in a go zone at my side, but he's much more antsy than Pickles and hops around instead of remaining calm at my side. I wave to the person and I make an immediate U-turn away from the person to avoid any unwanted pulling or jumping behaviors. We practice this a few more times, each time making sure we stop even further away from the person. I'm working to find where he can remain calm and more focused on me. And each time he does return to my side, he gets rewarded with small pieces of treats and kibble. All right, if it looks easy when I do it, but it doesn't work that way when you do it, well, then let me help you. Enroll in the course at the pro level, and my team and I will guide you through it step by step. Now, in today's video, we focused on dogs meeting and greeting humans, but when it comes to dogs greeting other dogs, we've got a few more things to consider. Now, we have two species who speak the same language, but not the one we speak. So there are a few more things to keep in mind. And if you want to dig into that, you'll want to check out this video next, Between Humans and Canines. I think I've covered all the species your dog will encounter while out on a walk. I hope so anyway. All right, if you're ready to get started on the leash skill games I mentioned in today's video, just check out the link to the course below. And if you have any additional questions for me, drop them in the comments. All right, that's all for today. This is your favorite online dog trainer, signing off until next time.